Here in the UK, it costs a lot to live. It costs at least maybe £500 a month for rent of an apartment, minimum, and that's not going to be a nice apartment. Food costs are very, very high. Fuel costs are exceptionally high. A lot of costs are high. And because of that, a lot of people in the UK work round the clock. A lot of people in the UK are burnt out, miserable, because everything's about money, because if people want to have a decent life for them and their kids, it has to be, because they're not going to be able to afford it otherwise. So people are very focused on money. And I'm sure anyone from the UK will kind of understand that if you live in a big city. There are people doing supremely well, Ferraris and whatever, driving around the streets. But that's not everyone. And even the people who do that, how much work do they have to do to get to that point? I don't mind work. I see myself as a hard-working person, but when I'm working for something I believe in the sense that, I've been struggling with my university assignments because I don't care about them, but I will work very hard in my business. Now, as someone who runs a business, and obviously pays tax on that and everything to do with that, and as someone who lives in the UK, the cost of things is so high now. I think the trend in migration may be about to change, because I've seen this myself, and I'm even thinking about it. For the costs I could be living in the UK with an apartment and a car and a house, well, a house being an apartment, and food costs and cost of fun that I want to have, which is not unreasonable, I could have a much cheaper life in somewhere like Spain. I could have a much cheaper life in somewhere like South America. I could have a much cheaper life in somewhere like Indonesia or the Philippines or Thailand. And of course, I'm sat in the glorious English sunshine in the brilliant woods. But with that being said, there becomes a point where it's like, for skilled people like myself, you've worked very hard. You've got a degree. You're looking to get a job. You run a business. You're doing as much as you can. But you're paying a fortune in tax. You're paying a fortune in living costs, and you're not getting very much value for what you pay for. I'm not necessarily saying that it's something that I am going to do, but I am seeing this trend a lot across the board. I've seen it with my own family members, I've seen it with friends, and I've seen it with people and stories that I've heard of. People who start off maybe living in the UK, they say, right, the weather in the UK is not great a lot of the time. The UK has got a lot of problems. The economy is not doing too well at the minute, and a lot of other things that we could talk about, but I'm not going to go on a negative rant about the UK. And then they think, well, I've trained to do this. I'm a legal professional. I'm a business graduate. And take me, for example. If I was to get a graduate job here in the UK, my pay might be about 24,000 maximum for my first year, maybe 25 if I'm really lucky. In the US, even though the jobs may be equally scarce, I've not researched it too much, for the similar sort of job, I could be getting upwards of 60 to 90,000 USD, which might be a little bit less in pounds, but obviously significantly more, even double, or even triple in GBP. Pounds is more than double. So when you think about it like that, whether it's moving to a richer country or a country that pays better, again, I've seen a lot of doctors and nurses and medical professionals move to places like the US and Australia, citing better weather conditions, cheaper costs of living, and also better pay. Or whether it's the other sort of people, which I've seen a lot in my friendship group as well, people who, quite frankly, never really cared about a job or a career. They found some sort of a way to make maybe £300, £400, £500, £600 a month online, and that's enough for them to live in Indonesia, or it's enough for them to live in Thailand, and they do things that way. Which way's right doesn't matter, but I feel like in places like the UK at the minute, and a lot of places around the world, we are potentially running into a talent shortage. Because again, people are of course migrating to the UK for the massive benefits they can have here. It's a great place, it's a very good place for you to make something of yourself. But with that being said, for the skilled people that live here, know about the UK's benefits and drawbacks, they may start to feel like, okay, I pay so much into the system, I don't get very much back relatively, and I can just have a cheaper life elsewhere, or a more expensive life, but a better paying life, so it kind of works out to be a bit better off. And I feel like that, if that continues, that trend, we could be seeing a potential talent shortage. Because I want to work hard, you know. I want to work hard. It's something I want to do. But naturally, no one wants to work hard for a company unless it's theirs. You don't work for a business that owes you nothing, because they know that they owe you nothing. They'll sack you on the spot. You know, they don't mind getting rid of employees, and they don't mind what your career ambitions are, what your life goals are. So people don't want to work for these companies that aren't paying. They'll move elsewhere. They'll live a more simple life or a more chilled life for less money. And I feel like that could be a stage that we're coming into, because I've seen a lot of people talking about this, both online, in real life, in my friendship groups, in my circles that I associate with and talk to. I'm seeing this trend more and more. People just saying it makes a lot more sense for me to learn, whether it's, you know, making YouTube videos or drop shipping items or something, you know, maybe doing online classes. It makes more sense to do this, get paid half as much, but live twice as rich in a different part of the world. And with the amount I'm hearing about this and seeing this, maybe it's because I've got myself into a loop of both talking about it and seeing it online, but with the amount I'm seeing this, clever people are not going to work for nothing. Like, imagine you've just graduated as a doctor, maybe 10, 15 years of study, and you're going to work for 40 grand. They're not going to do it. And they don't do it, and they won't do it. Many people don't do it, many people won't do it. Why would you? I wouldn't do it. 15 years of investment for, you know, double minimum wage? No. We can go get 300 grand to do it in the US. That's what's going to happen, I think. And that's what's already happening here, sadly. Anyway, that's it for this one. It's a rather short video, but I just wanted to cover this topic because it's been something that's interested me for some time. And on this channel, I've made a series of different styles of videos, whether it's talking about what I do in my business, or whether it's talking about sort of things that I'm feeling at the minute, things that I'm seeing at the minute, and a lot of the trends that we're seeing in the economy at the minute. That's it though. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and see you soon. Goodbye.